Mr.
Okay,
Governor, the
let's take
recording.
it step by step so that you can consume it.
You're recording. You're recording. Okay, it's okay now.
I'm recording here. Okay, let's take it step by step. So this formula does not have any problem. The formula says equals on EG2 workings. That's the name of the worksheet. That's it. Okay, so if you see a worksheet like, if you see something like this with a single inverted comma open and close, please, anywhere in spreadsheet, anywhere in both Google Sheet and Excel, at least I know, and afterwards an exclamation mark, it is denoting the code for the name of the worksheet. Okay, so you look at it, this is the name of our worksheet. But if you prefix it with a single inverted comma and you close it with a single inverted comma followed with an exclamation mark, that means you are using a worksheet. Okay, you are using part of a worksheet in a formula which you are not on that current worksheet. You understand? And then the D4, so that will be the D4 of this worksheet, which is this. Is it understood? So today's class, I'm going to give more emphasis on your spreadsheet knowledge. Very, very important. Very, very important for you. Okay? And the good thing is if you follow, definitely you will gain a lot. And you can never escape it. Unless you want to be backward in your profession. If you want to be backward in your profession, don't mind about spreadsheet. But if you want to excel, even if you have a lower qualification, I mean, you have to learn spreadsheet. Very, very, very important. Okay. In the West, accountants don't have to have, you know, number of master degrees, number of PhDs or whatever. Okay. They don't have to even have an ACCA. But if they have their basic accounting knowledge, maybe a degree, plus their solid spreadsheet knowledge, they are okay. You can never find anyone, especially in the UK, for example, calling him an accountant, he's not good at spreadsheet. That's out. Because everything you do is spreadsheets. You have your accounting package, you may have different accounting packages, but they can do unlimited work. They are designed to do a particular thing. But if you want to analyze, if you want to query reports, if you want to prepare, financial statements, it's spreadsheet that you use. Okay, so please take it very seriously. So that's why I'm taking all this trouble trying to explain it to you. And the reason why I'm trying to make these deliberate mistakes is so that you learn, because these are common mistakes that people make. Common mistakes. Okay, is that clear? Is that clear? And this method I'm using is a long method. We could decide to do the workings right here. Sorry, we could decide to do the workings right here. You know, just like we've done it for the first time. But it's not the best way. It's not the best way. It's not friendly at all. And it can waste your time if tomorrow changes happen. Okay, so please learn the best way. Right, so when we come here, we're trying to calculate the direct labor cost for each of the products. We all know that we need, okay, the time you spend on each of the product multiplied by the rate. Our problem is the rate is per hour, but the time that we spend on each product is in minutes. So definitely we have to convert. So if we have to convert minutes to hours, we have to take the minutes of each of them, divide by this. Okay, take this, divide by this. Take this, divide by this. So if we do that here, and we copy here, so what's happening is, this is the cell we are doing. When we copy, what have we done? We've moved once towards the right. Mind you, if you move once towards the right with your work, your dependents, the ones that you use in your formula, are also going to move once towards the right. So we use 24 here. When we move we'll go to 40. So there's no problem in that because 40 is for y. But the problem is if we don't make this absolute, it's going to move here. Okay, so if you look at it, let's replicate just once. When you come here, it gives you what? So look at it. It says E7 of the workings divided by E5. Okay, where is E7? This is E7. Where is E5? This is E5. Is there anything in E5? Class, is there anything in E5?
No.
There's nothing there. Okay? So when you divide it with an empty something, it gives you an error, how to call it, an answer that is erroneous. Okay? So that's why when you see anything with hashtag followed by something in both Excel and Google Sheet, it means you have done something wrong. Okay? So to avoid this problem, we have to make the one that is going to be constant for all of them, which is this and that, we have to make it absolute. How do we make it absolute? We make it absolute by prefixing it with a dollar sign before, let's say, D, and the dollar sign before the, let's say, 4. Okay? So we can just press one button, which is F4, function key F4, that will give you a dollar sign, either 2 or 4 at the same time. Then you replicate. I hope this is clear. So this is why there are 3 different cell referencing.
Sorry,
the first cell reference is a relative cell reference, which by default, Excel is set like I have moved once here. This has moved once, and it has moved once here as well. Okay? So if it is a relative cell reference, which by default all cell references are, it will move as you move. The dependence that you the dependence of the formula will also move with you. Okay? Relative cell reference. Absolute cell reference, if you make them absolute by prefixing them with a dollar sign, then you're going to make them stagnant. If you replicate or if you copy to another place, they're not going to move with you. They're going to remain as they are. And then the third category is a mixed one. Okay, mixed one meaning, you know, in a cell reference, you have the reference for a column and a reference for a row. So if one of them is made absolute, then that's what you call a mixed cell reference. Okay, for example, if we have a cell reference of C7, we make C fixed, and we make A absolute. Sorry, we make 7 absolute. That's what we call a mixed cell reference. Okay, is that clear? So let's do it properly now. Okay, so I'm going to go over, please. If you miss it last time, I'm starting all over again, please. Take note, yeah? Are we together?
Yes, we are together.
Please, as we go along, take note of this. Take note of these little bits and pieces. Okay? I mean, you go to some institutions, they say, okay, well, someone came here and then, you know, wanted our...
Sorry, Mr. Fokker.
Come on. Can you allow me to learn? Hello? Yeah, what I'm trying to say is the need to know spreadsheet, okay? Because we've experienced it. Like, I conduct series of trainings on this for institutions. But when your first appearance, you know, when they, like the guy who wants, you know, his or her staff to be trained, when they approach management and tell them, well, we want to organize a training on spreadsheet, management will look at them twice and say, what do you mean? Spreadsheet, Excel, Word, PowerPoint, that's for people who don't do well in school. So they are thinking, most of the Gambians, that's the philosophy they have. Their thinking is, if you go to learn about Microsoft packages or Google packages or whatever, you're somebody who has not done well in your exams. That is wrong. That is wrong. Every worker in this worldwide world now don't work with dry papers and ink. No, those days are over. We work with computers. We work with computers. And as an accountant, you don't, for example, expect to do your budget on Microsoft Word. That is weird. Okay? So you must have the skills to be able to do your calculations, your reporting, your charts on spreadsheets. So usually this is the false perception. But if they come for training, usually when my participants come for training, I usually give them a form to assess themselves. What's their state of proficiency? Some will even rate themselves advanced. I'm an advanced user. Some will say I'm an intermediate user. Some will say I'm an elementary user. So after the training also, I give them a form again and then ask them to evaluate themselves. Most of the time, those who says advanced will tell me, "Wallahi, Mr. Fofana, when I was doing my assessment, I was ignorant. In fact, I should have rated myself below elementary when I was doing it initially." It's vast. And even me who tried to do this, I know very little of it, very little. Very little. It's so important because it's the package that is relevant to almost all the professions. Anybody who deals in data, whether you are an accountant or not, is very good for you. For doctors, for engineers, name them. Okay? So just to encourage you, to try to, put more emphasis on it. Of course, don't joke with your academic work. It's really important. Okay? But then make sure as an accountant, try and keep practicing. Okay? So let's go before time finishes. Right. So please follow me. Did someone wanted to say something before I proceed?
Mr. Fofana, I want to ask you something here.
Yeah, go ahead.
For this, labor cost, you are using only 4 as a square meter, and the other numbers are there for Y and Z, 6 and 3. Why is that?
I'm using only 4 square meters.
Yes, I don't know. Yes, yeah. Even your second answer for Y, when you are calculating for, I don't know, direct material, you use 4 instead of 6.
No, we have done, the first thing we have done is we have calculated the direct materials cost per unit, and it's given to us on the question paper. Okay, the next one we have to calculate is the direct labor.
Sorry, yes, direct
What
labor.
you are referring to is the direct labor rate per hour. The one that is on the second paragraph, just below the first table. Are you with me?
Sorry, Mr. Fofana.
Yes.
Do you mean that when you attach a currency to a number, it will become absolute?
Not all currency, only dollar sign. That's the way only dollar sign.
Thank you.
Mr. Fofana.
Hello. Yes, Nima, go ahead.
Hello.
Yes, Nima, I'm hearing you. Go ahead. Okay, let's move. Nima maybe is having some internet connectivity issues. Okay, so please follow me. Okay, so we're going to use our absolute cell reference for the how to call it, the number of minutes per hour and also the labor rate, okay, to do our calculation. So we're going to use a reverse order from what we did before. So we say equals, all formulas start with an equals. We open the brackets to obey board mass, and let's click on EG2 workings. Okay, so this time around, we're going to use, how to call it, the number of minutes divided by the number of minutes per hour, which is 60. So we know 60 is going to remain the same irrespective of the products because it's a constant. So once we click on it, whilst we are doing our formula, then we press F4. Okay, so we press F4. After pressing F4, look at what happened. It has automatically put $2 signs here. $sign before D and $sign before 5. Can you see? Then we close the bracket.
So not to mine. Whatever,
Okay. We close the bracket and we say multiplied by the rate, which is 4. And the rate is also going to be the same for all. So we press F4. We enter. So now, if we replicate, look at what happened. It has given us all the answer within a click. Can you see?
Mr. Fofana.
Yes.
Sorry, if you said equal, so if you put the equal sign bracket upon, you should click on the name of the seat, or
exactly. You should click on the name of the seat to open it.
The name of the seat to open.
Yes, and after opening it, you go to the cell which you want to use for the formula. Okay,
wow.
So I'm going to go over it again, please. Once more, I'm going to go over it. Please watch out, watch out, watch out. Ibrahim, watch out, and the rest of you. So we say equals. We want to do 24 divided by 60 multiplied by 4. So the 24 divided by 60 should be on its own bracket to obey board mass, just like we're doing in our math. So we say equals bracket open. So we click this sheet to open it. And then we go and select our, so we click on the same reference for this, for our 24. Okay, so our 24 is supposed to be a relative cell reference, so we leave it as it is. So we say divided by our 60 will have to be an absolute, will have to have an absolute cell reference, because for the rest of the other products, it will be the same. The number of minutes per hour will always be 60. So once we click on that one, the one we want to make absolute, we press F4 so that we make it absolute. Then we close our bracket. Okay, after closing our bracket, then we say divided by, multiplied by our rate, which is 4. So we click on 4, and the 4 is going to remain the same for all of them also. So we press F4 to make it absolute, and we enter. Very easy. You'll agree with me, it's very easy?
Sorry, Mr. Fofana. Do you mean always when you want to make something absolute, you have to press F4 in all computers?
Yes, in all computers. If it is pressed, yes, it takes F4.
For me, I click it, but when I click it, it didn't work.
Yes, the reason why it didn't work is, you know, the F4 key is combined with another key. So if your keyboard has got a key called FN, if there's a key called FN, you'll press the F4 together with that FN key, then it will work. Okay, but then you have to do it when you are on edit mode. Okay, is that okay, Umar? Just, I mean, if you don't understand it well, once you go over the video, you'll understand. I think we need to save time and move. Otherwise, we will not finish this question, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry, Mr. Fofana, can I ask you?
For me, I got it.
You got it, Ibrahim. Good.
I got it.
Yes. Mr. Dumbuya?
Yes, you can. I have a doubt here because you are using only 4 years a square meter. Is that the rule or what?
No, we are not talking about any square meter here. We are dealing with labor hour. When you are dealing with labor, you don't talk about square meter. The 4 there is for the labor rate per hour. What you are paid per hour. We have already finished with the material. We don't deal with the square meter because the reason why we don't deal with the square meter, the material unit cost is already given to us on the question. Is it clear, Mr. Dumbuya?
Okay, okay.
Okay. So shall we move?
Yes.
Okay. Don't worry, if you don't understand it for the first time, I mean, this is a bit complicated. It's not just you alone. There are people who have qualified and they find these things very difficult to understand. So don't worry. If you're lucky to, well, for those of you who have not got job again, in case you want a specialized training, I'm not marketing, actually. I'm just trying to, in case you need a specialized training, inshallah, if I'm around, I will help in that. Okay. So right, but obviously it's very simple, and of course, if you go, you can always Google these things, and it will tell you. It's very easy to learn these things. And if I tell you, I've never sat, in any classroom to, learn all these little things I'm learning, all these little things I'm doing, you won't believe it. So it's just a question of practicing. Okay, it's just practicing. Okay. So now we got our labor cost. Mr. Dume, I hope you got us right now. Yeah, we are not talking about direct materials. We don't talk about meter square when you are dealing with labor. Okay.
I'm at work at the same time following class, so I'm kind of distracted. That's why. But later when I go home, I'll watch the video.
What's the problem? Why are you distracted?
Yeah, I'm here with some of my co-workers. So now is that they're having PTA meeting.
No, send them away, or you go somewhere else. Send them away. Tell them that you are attending a class that is important.
I'm not that much focused, but the following next week, I'll try and do it at home.
It's better. So please. So, but let them know that you are in class, because otherwise, you will be taking us back. Yeah.
Yeah, no problem. Just go ahead.
Okay. So, so let's move, please. Let's move. Time is not on our side. Right. So, so we've got 2 things. We've got the direct materials. We've got the direct labor. Do we have any direct expenses? Do we have any direct expenses?
No, we don't have direct expenses.
We don't have any direct expenses, exactly. So I'm going to format all these things so that they can be in one decimal place, okay, as you can see here. So we don't have any direct expenses. So now, what do we have then after this? What is the total of these 2 called? Prime cost, yeah? Prime cost. Okay. So what formula do we put to add these costs together? What formula?
A sum formula.
A sum formula. Okay. Take us through. Yes, take us through, Madam. You say we should put a sum formula. Please, I want to beg this from you. If you want to ask a question, wait until we've landed, because if we start something and you interrupt us, I get confused very easily. So please, if I start something, allow me to learn before you interject, because otherwise it's going to delay us, a great deal. I'm sorry about that. So yes, Madam, take us through. You say we should put a sum formula here, isn't it? Who was talking? Yeah. Okay, Yima, yes. So what sum formula should we put here?
Equals to.
Equals,
Sum.
SUM, So look at this. You don't have to memorize anything. It's very simple. Once you type SUM, look at it. All the formulas that start with SUM have pop up. Look at it. The first one that says sum. And if you are not sure, you can just hover your mouse on them and it will tell you what they are. It says sum of a series of number and or a cell. A sum if is a conditional sum across a range. A sum q is a sum of squares. Some ifs, like that. So very easy. So, but what we need is sum. So if you want to be fast, once you type equal sum, if it pops up, double click on it. If you double click on it, the bracket will be open. And another good thing that you have with Google Sheet is a little question mark will pop up here. Okay, this question mark is here to help you. So in case you don't know what to do with your sum, just click on it. Once you click on it, look at it. It gives you a guidance. Okay, in case you want to learn more, you just click on the function that says learn more. So if you know what you are supposed to do, you don't mind it, you just close your something and then you move. So yes, Nima, equal sum, bracket opens. What else do we do?
C8.
Okay, we type C8.
C6. C6.
Okay, yeah, you can either type C6, but the fastest will be click on C6, okay? It's the same as when you type, okay? After doing that? Yes, Nima?
Is the C.
Okay, we do isto, which is the same as a colon.
Colon, yeah.
Okay, and then we click on the last one. Is that what you said, Nima?
C7. C7.
Okay, C7.
Then you close the.
We close the bracket and we enter. Okay, so that's one way of doing it. Another way, another fast way of doing it is if you want the sum here, just click on it and then come here. Look at it. Look at this Sigma sign here. So once you click on this Sigma sign, you choose sum. Okay, it will open both brackets for you so that you can choose which one you want and you enter. Okay, so that's another way of doing it. Then we just duplicate. Okay, so this is our prime cost done for us. So our prime cost is 6.6, 5.7, and 10.0. Is that clear, everyone? Is that clear, everyone? So our next thing will be our production overhead.
So prime cost is the same as direct labor, total direct labor cost.
Yeah, prime cost is the same as total direct cost. The direct costs are direct materials, direct labor, and direct expenses. In this section, we don't have any direct expenses. So you can either say total direct expenses or prime cost. But if you're a non-accountant, maybe you can call it total direct cost, but accountants call it prime cost. So that's the terminology we use. Okay, but if you put total direct cost, you are not wrong. Okay. Shall we move? So the next one is our overheads. Okay, our overheads. overheads. Okay. These overheads we have to calculate it, and I'm going to do it on a working called working 2. Okay, are we together? Okay, shall we? Okay, let me just show you something. In case you want to see some of these things, how we came to do them. If you want to automatically see their workings, you can just come to the view menu and say show formulas. If you do that, look at it, it will show you all the formulas. Can you see the formulas? Automatically, all the formulas will display on the sheet for you. Have you taken notice of that?
Yeah.
Okay, excellent. Then you can go back. If you don't want the formulas to show, then you click that back so that that correct will disappear. Okay, so you have only numbers. Okay, so our working tool will be production overhead. So I'm going to copy this here, and then I'll paste it on our working tool here. So I'll put paste. Okay, but I'm going to remove the working tool here. This is all to save time when you are working. once you type something and you need the same thing again, you don't have to type it again. Unless you have all the time in the world, yeah? Okay, and nobody does that. So walk into production overheads. Shall I proceed, please, class?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. Yankuba driving. Are you with us? Yankuba? 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 Oh, all right. It seemed to be. Okay, fine. Right. So now we're going to calculate our production overheads using what? What method are we using? We are using absorption costing because that's our first technique, isn't it? Okay. So we're going to use absorption costing. Now, how are we going to calculate our production overheads here? Can you help me?
Yes, let me try.
Okay, good.
For the like, you know, there are three types of budgeted overhead, like the material receipt and inspection cost, the power cost, and the material handling cost. Now you have to try to have the OAR for each of them.
Oh, Omar, that will come in the next part. That's because the material handling, the power, and so on and so forth, those are activities. So that those ones will be treated under ABC.
You mean the budgeted activity level?
Yeah. What we're trying to do here now is we are trying to calculate our overheads using absorption costing. What you said is correct, but that will only apply to the part 2 of the question. Part 2 of the question, you understand?
Now this one, based on my understanding,
okay.
Are you going to take the number of minutes divided by 60 times the total units produced for product S? And you do
that's fine. That's fine. Yes, that's the methodology. So just to explain, the best way to say it is if we have to calculate our overheads per unit, our unit overheads for each of the products, we'll first have to calculate our OAR, our overhead absorption rate, and we multiply that overhead absorption rate by the actual activity level for each of the product to absorb it. So now, the problem we have is to calculate our OAR, we need two things. What are those two things?
Budgeted overhead and budgeted activity level.
We need the budgeted overheads divided by the total budgeted activity level. So in this question, what is our activity level? What is our activity level in this question?
Yeah, in this question, activity level here, I can say is material rates and inspection cost.
Material rates, those will be dealt with in part in second part of A. Our activity level, we are talking about absorption cost. We did absorption costing.
The activity level.
Yeah, yeah. Production quantity.
Okay. Okay, let's read. So please, let's read
the question is saying.
He said the Hensal Limited has a single production process which are following for the period ending. 3 products produce working number of operations. The workers are paid this. The following budgeted information have been obtained. Overhead costs. Look at it just below the table. Overhead costs for material receipt and inspection, process power, and material handling are presently each absorbed by product units using rates per direct labor hour. So what's our OAR? What's our activity level in our OAR? Direct labor hours. Direct labor hours, we have been told. Using rates per direct labor hour. So our activity level is labor hours, direct labor hours. Is that clear, everyone? It has been given to us on the question. Okay.
It's very clear. It's very clear in the second part.
That is it. That is it. Just below the second table. It's
below the table.
Okay. So now that we know our activity level, how are we going to calculate our OAR? We say to calculate our OAR, we need our total fixed overhead. This time around, we are not using any departmental. We are using one lump sum, one OAR. So total fixed cost divided by our total activity level, isn't it? Okay, is that clear?
Yes.
Okay, good. So let's go and do them. Okay, so we copy this products, paste. Okay, so to calculate our activity level, you've already said it, Umar. What are the two things we put into consideration? To
budgeted overhead and the budgeted activity level.
Sorry?
The total budgeted overhead and the total budgeted activity level.
Yes, divided by the total budgeted overhead, activity level, fine. But what I'm saying is what we are trying to calculate now first is our activity level. So let's calculate our activity level. Our activity level is labor hours, isn't it? Okay. Our activity level is what? Labor hours. So how do we calculate the labor hours here?
Do you mean how to determine the total labor hours?
Sorry?
How to determine the total labor hours?
Yes, we have to determine the total labor hours. So how can we calculate that?
In that case, I think it's supposed to be the minutes given, like for product X, the 24 divided by 60 times the number of units produced for product X.
Exactly.
Which is 8,000.
Yeah, it's simple. You don't have to memorize it. Let's approach this logically. We were given in the question that to produce 1 unit of product X, you require 24 minutes. So if you want to produce 2,000 units of product X, how many hours are you going to require? It's going to be 24 divided by 60 times 2,000. Simple. To produce 1 unit of product Y, you need 40 minutes of direct labor time. So what's the total labor hours for product Y? Is going to be that minutes divided by 60 times 1,500. That will give you the number of hours. It's that simple. Okay, it's that simple. So please don't think it's difficult. It's not difficult at all. And this is exactly what we have done in the 2P2B question. Okay, so we're going to calculate the activity. So first, let me bring the units. Okay, so the units are, give me the units.
2,000.
2,000.
1,500.
1,500.
800.
And 800.
And 800. There you go. Now, we've already got this, our direct labor in minutes. Okay, so you see how important it is to have this down here as part of our workings. We don't have to bring it here again. So now, what we have to calculate is our hours, our labor hours for each of the product. Okay, so how can we calculate our labor hours from each of the product? Now, can someone give me a correct formula as to the way we do it and we replicate? Ibrahim, are you going to try?
Let me try.
Yes.
Yeah, it's we say equals to bracket open.
Bracket open.
Yeah, we click on the cell that where our work where we are doing the working.
Just put the, no we are doing the workings on the same. It's all on the same one. So what we are, doing is we need working one. Yeah. Okay. Good.
No, I understand. 24.
Okay. So I click on this. I don't type 24. I click on the cell reference for 24.
You just said.
I click on the cell reference of 24, which is D7.
24. Yes.
Okay.
C7. Yes. C7.
No. D7.
Yeah, you click on D7.
Yes.
Divided by. This is 60. D4. 60 divided by 60. Yeah.
That's D5. That's D5.
D5. Yes. Divided by 60. Then we click on. We enter F4.
Good. Excellent. We make F4 to make it absolute.
F4. We multiply by.
No, we close the brackets.
Close the bracket. Yeah. Close the bracket. Then multiply by.
Multiplied by.
2,000.
2,000. The cell reference for 2,000. So do I make 2,000? So do I make 2,000 absolute?
Yeah, you make 2,000 absolute.
Hey.
No.
Ibrahim, akana ke nyamato la karijote de. They were looking for the nyamato ko karo fele. And everybody was happy because the guy looked for it, and said, "Okay, do for na fele."
No, this thing 2,000 we cannot make it absolute because it's not in.
Good. So that's fine. Okay, so that's it. So that's where we stop. Then we enter. Okay, and we replicate. There you go. Look at it. How fast it is. Look at it. How fast it is. And it's all correct.
This is very interesting.
Tomorrow, let's say the rate changes. Let's say tomorrow the rate changes to 5. Just look at what I'm going to do. Look at all these things, how they're going to change. Let's say the rate changes to, let's say, 5. You just do change 5 once. Look at it. Everything else will change, including what is here. Can you see? This is what we call a proper spreadsheet. So I'm taking it back to 4.
Mr. Faulkner, this is very interesting. All accountants should know how to do this.
Yes, definitely. Okay, so this is good. So now we've got all our hours correct. Our hours should be 800, 1,000, and 800. Okay, if you put it on your calculator, it's going to be the same. So let's find our totals here. So I can put total here because we need the totals. Okay, we need the totals. We don't need the total units actually, but we need the total hours. So we say equal sum. So the same sum formula. We start from here to the end. We close the same. I'm not doing anything new, so that's why I'm doing it fast. All right. So we have our total hours. Okay. Our total hours are 2,600. Now, the next thing we need to do is our total overheads. Okay, so let's have our overheads. So we'll have our overheads. So let's type this because we will need it in our next part. So overheads. So we are doing the overheads one by one, isn't it? So the overheads are split into 3 activities. Have you realized that? Just immediately after the first paragraph, you have material receipt and inspection as an overhead, power cost as an overhead, material handling cost as an overhead. Those are activities. So overheads is categorized by activity. Okay, so we have overheads. then we do our column, then I'll start itemizing them here. Then I'll say material, RECT. I'll try to abbreviate it, and INSP. Okay. Material receipt and inspection. Okay. We can just put it under the total column. So how much is that? What's the overhead for that?
15,600.
15,600. Then the next one is power cost. So power. Okay.
19,500.
19,500. And then material handling cost. Lumia, your people are disturbing us. Please mute your mic. Okay. Material handling. Okay. How much is material handling?
13,650.
13,650. 13,650. Okay. So let's put all these numbers into their 1,000 separator and no DP. So I just highlight all of them. I go to number format. I choose this number formatting with 2 DP, then I reduce it, okay, to 0 DP. So by doing this, it makes life a lot easier. Okay, so the total of the overheads, we do some formula as well. Okay, close the bracket, we enter. So that's the total of the overhead. So the overheads total 48,750, whilst the activity level totals 2,600 hours. Okay, so what's our FOAR? So our FOAR or our OAR, it doesn't matter. Okay? Our OAR will be equals the total fixed overhead divided by the total activity level, enter, 18.75. Look at it, easy. Okay, so this is what we're going to use to absorb here. Okay, so when it comes to absorption, can someone help me with formula do we have to put here? Omar, you want to try that? You want to take us through? You know, we've already calculated our FOAR here as 18.75, which is on D19 of our workings.
Yes.
I hope it's clear to everyone.
Yes, let me try.
Okay, yes.
Yes, it will be equals to.
Mm-hmm.
Can you go back to the next sheet?
Okay, I click here, yeah?
Sorry, equals
Yes,
to bracket.
Let me open the bracket, yeah? Okay, bracket open. Yes?
It will be, is it 24?
24, good.
Divided by 60.
Divided by 60, and the 60 should be, we
yes,
make it absolute, isn't it?
Yes, exactly.
We close the bracket.
And you multiply by
excellent. We multiply by
D19.
D19. And what should that be?
D19 is the FOAR.
No, what should we do? Should it be absolute reference or?
Yes, it should be absolute.
Absolute, excellent. So we do our F4 there, we enter. Okay, so once we do this, we just move on, just like that. 7.5, 12.5, 18.8, correct, just like that. Okay, so let's calculate our total unit cost. Our total unit cost, so we use a sum formula, equal sum, bracket opens, We just click on all this, we close the bracket, enter. You see? You see how fast it is? Once you know what you are done, just bum, 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 you are done. But is this correct?
Mr. Governor. Mr. Governor,
Yes.
the production overhead, what was the formula? The network was breaking, so I couldn't get it.
The production overhead, what the formula was, you know, just like we've done before, if you attend the previous class, the production overhead should be absorbed. It's a cost that should be absorbed because there is no direct way of sharing it among the products because it's not directly traceable to any of the products. So in order to absorb it, you have to calculate a rate. That's what you call overhead absorption rate. Okay? So that overhead absorption rate, to calculate it, everybody knows that you need the total budgeted fixed overhead divided by the total activity level. The activity level in this question we have been told is labor hours. Okay? So that's why we calculated the labor hours for each of the products. We added them together. And then we added all the overheads for each of the activities. Because this is ABC, the overheads are broken by activity. So when we did that, we had a total overheads of 48,750, and we had a total activity level. Let me just shade them a bit so that we can differentiate them. So we had a total activity level of this. So I do some color coding. Then the total, how to call it, overheads this. And then we will require this as our, so this is what we got as our FOAR. Is it clear now, Nima? Is it clear? He's having network issues. Okay, fine.
Yeah.
All right, good. So look at my formula. I say add from C6 to C9. Is this correct, class?
Yes, it's correct.
No, it's not correct. We added everything. Look at it.
No, it's wrong. You should add prime cost plus the overhead.
There you go. You've seen it now. So we should start adding from C8, not C6.
From the prime cost.
Yes.
It means you double counted prime cost by adding all of.
I did deliberately, just to see whether you are awake. Okay? So, and then we do this. So we have 14.1, 18.2, and 28.8. Correct. So this is our total unit cost using the absorption costing. Okay? So this is the first part. Okay, so this is the first part. So let's go and do the second part. The second part is this. So we can just copy this heading. We paste it here and we amend it. We paste. So this time around, we are going to use ABC costing method. So don't waste your time to spell ABC fully. You're going to waste time. You're not going to get any marks for doing that. So just say ABC. Okay? So look at it, how fast it is. Just copy, paste, and amend.
You also copy it.
Sorry?
You also
I am
copy
not seeing a view of yourself.
Okay, so now we're going to go and do our activity-based costing statement. Okay? So I hope the first part is clear. It's clearly understood. Everyone, any questions? I have 38 people in my class, but only few are active. What's wrong with the rest? Lamin Waicham, are you with us?
well, we are just silent, but we are understanding very well.
Oh, okay. I'm happy to hear that, Mama Dubite. I'm happy to hear that. Okay? Mariama Haidara.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, we are clearly understanding it.
Yes, we are.
Okay. Ndela? Ndela? Rohi? Ajamari Chan? Just want to make sure we are all on the same page before I move, right? Okay, so let's go to the second part. The second part is an approach we could recognize is the cost drivers revealed in the activity-based costing investigation. I'll look at the marks. The marks are 13. But if you look at the first part that we did, maybe 4 marks. The rest of the 7 marks will be for the ABC. Okay, so take note of that. And in exams, don't waste your time on parts that don't earn you much marks. Okay? Right. So let me beautify these columns a bit. So I'm just going to match everything here. So I just match all the cells. I'm going to center them. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make the background blue. And I will make the fonts white. Okay. Then I'm going to replicate. So when you come here, you don't have to do all the procedures I follow here. So just click on this and you click on the, look at it, paint format. Click on the paint format and you click here, it will bring, look at what I did, okay? So I've done this here, couple of formatting, but when I want to copy it anywhere, just click on it and then you come here to the paint format, click it once, and then your destination, click it once, it will bring everything. But this time around, I don't want the background to be blue, but I want the background to be green so that we can differentiate between the 2 parts. Is this clear? Then hence how also we could just center it on this. Okay, and let's say we want to make the writing blue like that. Okay? How does it look? How does it look now?
Beautiful.
It's nice.
Beautiful.
Okay,
And perfect.
And if you want to beautify it more, you can disable the grid lines. So you can just come to view, you remove the grid line. Look at it. That now it looks as though it's not even pixel.
Wow.
Okay, shall we move to the second part? Okay, so I'm going to put the grid lines back. So I just go to view, grid lines. So it makes life easy. So the first part is gone. Now, what we're coming to do is, like I said, the first part, this whole part is the same. Okay? So if it is the same, there is no point going back here and say direct, coming here, direct material, direct labor, prime cost. No, you're wasting your time. So just bring forward the prime cost, as simple as that. So to do that, we're just going to, of course, bring forward the product names. So I'm going to link them, okay? I'm going to link them to the ones up here so that in case I make mistake tomorrow, if I change this, everything will change. So I'm going to link it. So I'll just click on here. I say equals. Then I click on the top part, enter. Then I just duplicate. Okay? So tomorrow, let's say we made a mistake with this. Instead of product X, it should have been product A. So type product A, look at it. Once you type product A, not only this change, but the dependent also change. Okay? So please, please, don't joke with these skills. It's very powerful. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we need only the prime cost. So I'm going to link the prime cost also, so that in case prime cost was wrongly calculated, once we change it here, it's going to change. So I just click on prime cost, I enter. So I just replicate. So the prime cost that is here is the same. So let's assume that we made a mistake. Maybe this 5 should not have been 5. It should have been, let's say, 10. So once you type 10, look at it. The prime cost here has changed. Okay. The 10 has come here. Okay. Where is the prime? Yeah. So the prime cost, you see, 11.6, 11.6, 5.7, 5.7, like that. Okay.
So can you please go over that, please?
Okay. So like what I have done, I was just simply linking them. Okay. To link, just go back once. Go back once. To link, like for example, I want this prime cost to come here. If I copy and paste here, well, it's fine. There is no problem with it. But then if you make any changes up here, it won't change. So the best is to link them so that tomorrow, if there is some changes here, the changes will be effected, you know, on all the dependents. So you just click on where you want it to come. You press equal. Very simple. Equals, and you click on prime cost once. You enter. You don't have to go and click, click, click. No. Do one and then replicate the rest. Can you see? So that's the prime cost here for us. We brought it forward. Now, what we're supposed to do is we have to calculate our overheads. Okay? We have to calculate our overheads. So we need to do this using our workings. So the workings we are coming to do is going to be the same way as we will do our FOAR, but we're going to do it for different activities. Okay? So when you look at the question paper, the overheads have been broken down into 3, and those 3 are activities. The first one is material receipt and inspection. It's an activity. The overheads is 15,600. The second one is power cost. It's an activity. The overheads attached to it is 15,500. The third one is material handling cost, 13,650. So these are overheads, and each of these overheads, okay, each of these overheads are activities. And when you come down, just before the requirement, you've been told what are the cost drivers for each of the activities. The cost driver is just the same as the absorption. The question we just did, what was our activity level? Our activity level was what? The number of hours, wasn't it? So this is the same here. Our activity level for each of these activities are this, but we don't call them activity level, but we call them cost drivers in ABC. So material receipt and material receipt and inspection, the cost driver is number of badges of material. In other words, the activity level is number of badges of material. But please don't call it activity level. Okay? You have the power processing, cost driver is that. Material handling is that. So that means these are the bases that you're going to apportion each of those overhead. That's exactly what you have. As simple as the way you do your absorption costing, but this time around is a bit different. Okay? So let's go on. So first, let's prepare our formats. So we have our prime cost as the first one. Okay? Then we have our overheads. OVERHEABS. Then we do our column. So what's the first overhead? What's the first overhead?
It is the material receipt and inspection cost.
And that one also, because we have typed it somewhere, we don't need to type it here. So let's go and get it from our workings. So I say equals, it's here. That's our overheads here. So I just click on this, I enter. Here, typing is done for me. Can you see? Can you see how important it is to link them? And then now, what I need to do, because this is all that I require, so the next thing is our total unit cost. So that one also, I'll just link it here. Can you see this? So this is the difference between those who are good at spreadsheet and those who are not good at spreadsheet. Those who are not good at spreadsheet, they spend the whole of their life at work. And some of the ladies will be crying, oh, my husband works too hard. I'm going to divorce him. He comes too late around 1 a.m. Come on. Maybe sometimes you will not, your husband does not go anywhere else, but maybe your husband does not have good working knowledge of his tool, spreadsheets. So something that should have taken him ideally 1 hour will take him 1 day. Can you imagine? So it's really important as accountant to know this skill. Please, I'm not saying this because, I require you to know. I'm saying this for your career, okay? Even if I have the capability, it's not possible for me to be able to provide for all the institutions, but just for you to know, how important it is, because the advantage I may have over other lecturers is I am lecturing, but I'm into practice as well, okay? I'm a director of finance for an institution, a big institution for that matter. And of course, I have my personal practice also. And I do, training service. So I can be able to tell you, I can be able to advise you in a broader way, okay? And of course, I've got a very good experience in the West as well. So please take my advice seriously, and just make sure you practice on your own. It doesn't even have to be only this. You can, learn on your own, and stuff like that. Okay, so this is our format. Now, what we can do is, in fact, we can do our formula here before we even do our working, so that if we do anything here, it's going to be captured. So our formula here will calculate all the overheads from prime cost to here. So we can do equal sum. It doesn't mean you do formula when numbers are there, but even if they are blank. So if you say equal sum, we start from here all the way there, we close the bracket, we enter. Okay, for now, it's going to give us only one number because that's what is there. Good. So now let's go to our workings. So this was working 2. So we'll go to working 3. Okay, we'll go to working 3. So in our working 3, what we're going to do is we're going to calculate our cost driver rate for each of the activities. Okay, we're going to calculate our cost driver rate. And what is our cost driver rate? The equivalent is our
$4, isn't it?
What? Dumbuya?
Isn't $4?
Sorry, I didn't get that right.
Isn't $4?
You see, you are so much in love with this $4, Dumbuya. I'm sure it's because the people are disturbing you at the background, huh?
I think cost driver rate is the same as the FOA.
Mr. Fofana?
Yes.
Yeah, our cost driver rates are like material receipt and inspection, number of batches of material. That's the cost driver rate.
Yes. What I mean is we're going to calculate 3 different cost driver rates. If you want to explain cost driver rate to somebody who doesn't know ABC, what is the equivalent in absorption costing?
FOAR.
FOAR. That's what I want to hear. It's the same as your FOAR. Okay, but please don't call it FOAR. I'll be very angry with you next time if you call it FOAR when you are doing ABC, okay? So please don't do that. Okay, so we're going to calculate our cost driver rates. So, but before we calculate our cost driver rates, we first have to find the total of our cost drivers. So the working one will be cost driver calculation and then cost driver rates. We need to be fast because life is approaching and some people have cars.
Yeah, Mr. Fofana, even me, I'm following it up with my doing the workings with my laptop, but I lost a bit, so that's why I stopped. So maybe I will use the recording version to
Yes, exactly. And again, this thing will be shared with you as well. So please, I encourage everybody.
Yeah, that's what happened to me
too. Okay, very good. But you know, because when you're playing it at your free time, you can pause it and try to digest what has been said, and you will see everything. It's beautiful. So you're not missing anything, please. So, but let's just make sure we finish this question up, please. Yeah. And you'll have to do my assignment as well. Yeah. So we have the cost driver calculations. The first one is our number of badges. We have our badges, isn't it? Number of badges. So the number of badges, let me bring the products. So I'll link that also. The various product names, X, Y, and Z. Okay. So what's the number of badges for product X?
10.
10. For product Y?
5 and 16 respectively.
5 and 16 respectively. And what is the total? We just do a sum function. We say equal sum, bracket opens, and we complete this close bracket end. Okay? So the total number of badges will be 13. Okay? So the total number of drill operations, the next, you've seen them, we've already been told. Material receipt overhead, the cost driver is number of badges. Power, process power, the cost driver is number of drill operations. So I'm not reading from anywhere. There's no magic, obviously, but I'm just doing it from there. So number of drill operations. So I just say number of drill OPS operations. So number of drill operations.
632.
What we have is a unit data. Okay, if you go to your data per unit, the number of drills, the number of power drill operations are in units. So we have to find them in their totals. So that means for each of them is going to be the unit multiplied by the total production unit. Yeah. So for product X is going to be what? Equals is 6, isn't it? 6 per unit for product X. Are you following?
Yes.
Okay. So 6 multiplied by,
yes,
since I have these units, I just do that. Then the next one will be 5 multiplied by 1005. Then
the drill operation, I think for the second one is
3. Yes, you're right. You're right. 2 multiplied by 800. So the second one should be 3. Yeah. Good. Excellent. Great. So we go and find our 1000 separator. Okay. There you go. Let's do this formatting. Okay, fine. So let's replicate this formula so that we can have the total. So the total drill operations is what? 18,100. Okay? And then the last one is what? Material quantities. The last one is material quantities. QPY. The material quantities also will be given on the question. Direct material in square meter for product X is 4, for product Y is 6, and for product Z is 3. So we're going to multiply that by their units, each of them, okay? So it's going to be equals 4 multiplied by 2,000 and equals, what's the next one? What's the next one?
6 multiplied by 1,005.
6 multiplied by 1,005. Then the last one,
3 multiplied by 800.
3 multiplied by 800. So we're going to use the same format here. So we highlight it and press the format painter and we click on this. Okay, and then we do the totals, we drag it. So we have 19,400. Okay, we have 19,400. Okay, is that clear, everyone? Okay, so now we've got our cost driver calculations. That is the total of our cost drivers. Just like what we did when we were calculating our total number of hours. Can you remember when we were doing absorption costing? We multiplied, we say 24 divided by 60 multiplied by, like that. So the same thing here. So the next thing we have to find is we have to find the rate, the cost driver rate or the OAR. Okay, is that clear? The cost driver rate or what we call our OAR. Okay, is that clear? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do it side by side here. I'm going to do my cost driver rate here. Cost driver rate. So for our cost driver rate, can someone tell me what will be our cost driver rate for how to call it? I think we can do it now. We need the. Actually, let's do it this way. We need to get the. Let's put it down here. Let's put it down here. It will be clearer here. Okay, let me just undo, and then I'll just cut here. Are you following, please? Are you following, class?
Yes, we are.
Okay, so we'll have our cost driver rate here. So the cost driver rate, we're going to calculate it for each of the overheads. So let's bring these overheads here. So we say equals, we click this, and we replicate. So I'm doing a lot of replication. Okay, so we are calculating the cost driver rate. Let me make it bold. FOAR, I make it bold. Okay, so now our cost driver rate. What is the cost driver for the first one? Material receipt and inspection?
It will be 15,600.
No. What is the cost? Sorry, what is the how to call it? The cost driver for the activity material receipt and inspection?
The cost driver rate.
No. The cost driver, I mean. The cost driver is what? Number of badges, isn't it?
Yes, I think that one is 31.
Okay.
I think it's the number of badges.
Yeah, it's the number of badges. So what will be the cost driver rate for material receipt and inspection?
$15,600.
Okay. So what we're going to do is let's bring forward our overheads here. These are our overheads. We already got them here, isn't it? So let's bring them forward here. Okay, so let's bring them forward here. So these are our overheads, isn't it? So now what we want to find, I just put overheads. Then we'll have our cost driver rate. By rate, I mean cost driver rate. By rate, I mean cost driver rate. Okay, so if we want to get the cost driver rate for the first overhead, that is material receipt and inspection, what do? We divide the total overhead over the activity level. We divide the total overhead, the total overheads over the total cost drivers, isn't it? Total overhead for each activity over the total of that particular cost driver, okay? The activity's cost driver, okay? So for the first one, how are we going to arrive at that?
Is it 15,600 divided by 31?
Okay, equals 15,600 divided by 31. We enter. Okay, so what do? We replicate. So we take them to 2 decimal place. It's fast, isn't it? And that's it. So the first one is 503 pounds, 0.23. This is per batch. Yeah. So the next one is for power, isn't it? So it's 1.08 per drill operation. And then the last one is per square meter. Okay? So these rates, what are these rates? What are these rates?
I think they are fixed rates or
they are the cost driver rates.
They are the cost driver rates. How will you call the equivalent when you are doing absorption costing?
The FOAR.
There you go, FOAR. So after getting your FOAR, what do you do?
You absorb them.
You absorb. Exactly. The same thing. The same thing. There's no difference. So how do we absorb? We absorb by multiplying the cost driver rate. We absorb by multiplying the FOAR by the actual activity level. The same thing here. But you have to take note, for the first one, per badge is a total item. So if you multiply by the number of badges, you must divide it by the total. Because when you look at your table, the badges of material 10, 5, and is not a unit one. Can you see on your cost table? Because the unit item started just after the badge when you look at your question paper. Is that clear?
Yes.
Excellent. Good. Very good. So I'm happy that you are understanding all these things. So now let's go to the question and we observe. The material receipt and inspection, we have done the rate. The rate is 503 pounds sterling, 503.23 per batch. Okay? When we come here, the power overheads, our rate, which is our cost driver rate, is 1.08 pounds. So 1.08 pounds per drill operation. So if we want to absorb, we're going to multiply this by the drill operation for each of them. Okay, so these are the actual drill operations. Okay, so for material, when we look at the material, the overhead for material handling as an activity, what is the cost driver rate? What's the cost driver rate?
503.
No. For material handling. The material handling. What's the cost driver rate?
That one is
0.7. 70 pence per square meter. So if you have to absorb, is this 70 pence that you multiply by 8,000 square meter by this, by that? Simple. Okay, so let's come here and absorb. So for the first one, can someone give us the formula? Who wants to try? To be honest, in the next 8 minutes we are done. So let's concentrate and do it. You have a chance to go over the video again. If you don't understand, you will definitely understand. Okay? Because everything is explained step by step. So how do you absorb? Can someone help me with the first one? Please take note. The first one, if we absorb, we have to divide it by their units because the values of material are not in their units. Okay? So who wants to try? Emily, you've been very quiet. Emily, can you help us? How do we absorb that? Emily Makule? Emily? Let's do this quickly. I want you to understand. Who can help so we finish this? Because it's time. People have to go and attend another class. Umar, you want to try? Ibrahim, you want to try? Omar? Okay, yes.
yes, Mr. Fofan. Yes, I think that one you have to take the FOAR that you have calculated.
So I say equals, then I go to my workings. Please don't call it FOAR, cost driver rate.
Yes, cost driver rate. Yeah.
So we say bracket opens. So the cost driver rate is this multiplied by, we're going to multiply it by what? And mind you, at this juncture, let me start. If we say equals, bracket opens, we click the cost driver at this. So this is going to apply to all of them. Okay, so we make this absolute. Okay, so we say multiplied by?
Multiplied by the 10.
Excellent, multiplied by the 10. So, but the 10 is not going to be absolute. So let's close the bracket and do what?
And divide by the 2000.
And divide by that one, we have to go and click the quantity here, which is this, the units. And we enter. Okay, is this correct? It is correct. Then now what do? We replicate. Simple. 2.5, 1.7, 10.1. Excellent. Okay, I hope you know why we are dividing it by the unit. I hope you know why. is because
Yes,
the power
because
of drill operation given, how to call it, is not in units. So the next ones are simpler. Okay, so what do we do? What do we do, Omar? So we say equals.
yes, equals.
Mm-hmm.
You go to the workings.
Workings,
And click. Can you drag?
Yes. That's the 1.08, yeah?
Yes, 1.0. Yes, 1.08.
Okay, 1.08. I make it absolute, isn't it?
Yes, absolute, yeah.
And then I multiply it by.
Is it the drill operation?
Which one?
You multiply by 6.
Multiply by the number of drill operations.
By 2,000.
Yeah, 2,000. Excellent. Enter.
I think it is in unit, oh?
Huh?
So you multiplied with the 1,000 since it is in units.
Since what is in units?
We are calculating the unit cost statement of ABC.
Yes, it should be a unit cost statement. So for the power, we have to be careful. You know, we already multiplied this.
We already divided with the...
So we don't even have to divide it by anything. So we just take this, we say equals, okay? We click on this, and I make it F4.
And multiply by 6.
And multiply it by, we go to the section. For the drill operations, they are what? The number of parts, they are 6. Excellent. Correct, Umar. Okay? So we replicate it to all of them, but then we are going to change the 6. So we change the 6 to what? On that of Y?
Yes, 3.
To 3.
Excellent. People are following. I'm happy. And then the last one, we change it to 2. Excellent. So for the power, the unit should be 6.5, 3.2, and 2.2. Okay. So we do the same thing for the material. We say equals. Okay, so we click on this one, and we make it absolute. We multiply it by what? That's the material handling. We multiply it by the meter square, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, so what's the first meter square?
4.
We enter. Okay, so we can replicate it and then change accordingly. So the next one is what? Instead of 4, it's going to be what?
6.
Instead of 4, it's going to be what? 6. Okay, and then the next one, instead of 4, is going to be what?
3.
It's going to be?
3.
Very good. So our totals are 18.4, 14.8, 24.3. Brilliant. Okay, so that's it. So if you understand, obviously, and you want to go for your class, you can exit now and go. We are not going to do anything more. The B part of the question is in the slides. It's in the lecture 2 slides. I'm going to share them with you. That is by comparing the two methods. The two methods will give you a very similar results, as you will see here. If you look at it, when you add all of them, let's add all of them. The cost first, like this will give you 61.0, 61.0 versus 57.5. See, they are almost around 60. So the difference is due to rounding off, but obviously you will have to state that the ABC is far, far better because it gives fair share of the cost to each of the products. Okay, as simple as that. So, but that will be given in the slide. So I'm going to send that to the group. Okay. So this is the answer. Please, please, if you have not understood, go and play the video again. I'll upload the video on YouTube. Okay. So if there are no questions, shall we draw the curtain here so that those who want to attend the other classes can go now? So in case you are fine, I mean, you don't need to ask any question, and you're supposed to have another class. You can leave and go. We are not going to add anything new. So I'm just staying for 5-10 minutes so that those who don't understand, and they are not in hurry for next class, I'm around. If you want to ask me, I can ask you. I can answer your question.
Sorry, Mr. Fofana.
Yes,
Mr. Fofana.
How to align the letters like X, Y, Z with the numbers in the same, like to align them on the left side.
Oh, how you do that? You highlight, like, let's do it here. Okay. So what you do is you just highlight the columns that it affects. For example, let's say they are like this. Okay, let's say they were like this. When the columns that deals with numbers in accounting, we always align them to the right. So you just click on all the columns, respective columns from their top here, and then you come to, you can either go to formatting, okay, and then you do alignment, or you have a ribbon, okay? You have a ribbon here, then you can just select all the columns and then come and do it, come and do the horizontal alignment. So you click this open and you choose the right alignment. Can you see? Right alignment, and we are done. Okay?
Yes, thank you.
Wow, I forgot to be stopping this recording. This recording is going to be too long.